Okay, so in the second part of the video, we're going to use some of the ideas that we learned in the first part where we looked at the list monad transformer. And what we're going to do now is we're going to at least complete some of the things that we learned in the last video where we're going to make list tm. We're going to make list tm an instance. We're going to make this an instance of the monads type class. And in order to do that, let's just go ahead and write some code here. So I'm going to say, okay, let's say instance. I'm just going to write some Haskell code here. So I'm going to say instance, and I'm going to put a constraint here. The constraint being that the m that I'm going to use now, the m that I'm going to use now must be a monad here. That's a constraint here. And let's create an instance of my monad type class, and this is going to be list t m. So list t m, and where I'm going to implement my return method. That's the first method I'm going to implement, and then followed by that I'm going to implement my bind method. And again, it's just for clarity purposes here. If I look at the type signature for my return method, the type signature for my return method is as follows. It takes in some value of type A and gives you back some value of type MA, where M is a monad. So this entire thing is a monadic value, and where M is acting as my monad. Now what I'm going to do now is, because when I'm making my instance, I'm making list TM an instance of my monad type class. Wherever I see this M, I'm just going to replace that. I'm just going to replace that with a list TM. Remember, this entire piece over here is acting as my M in my type class. This M over here is this entire piece list TM. So A, so the type signature for my return method is going to be as follows. A, it takes in some value of A and gives you back some value of type list T of MA. All right, so let's just complete that. So let's say my implementation to this method is that return. I'm going to provide the implementation now. It takes in some value, and the first value needs to be of type A. So let's say I have some value over here x, where the type of this x is this A there. Okay, and this is going to equal to some value that has a type of list TMA. Now, how do I create a value? How do I create a value that has the following type of list TMA? Now I know that this is a type. If this is a type list TMA, in order to create a value of that type, I must make use of this value constructor. Okay, so I'm going to make use of the value constructor. So I'm going to say this is going to equal to list t. Okay, because when I use this value constructor, and if I can provide in the appropriate value of the first field together, this value constructor is going to have the value that I create out of this value constructor is going to have a type of list TMA. So I'm just going to make sure that I don't deviate from the type signature of my return method. So this is list T, and I'm going to just provide my first field here. And to provide my first field, I'm just going to say, in this case, what I really need is M, the monad, because the constraint here is that this M that I'm using here is a monad, and then what I need here is a basically wrapped in a list here in the list. Okay, and this is the default minimal context of my list here. So this x that I have here is already something that is a monadic. This x that I have here, sorry, so this x over here that I have here is of type A. So I just need to take this x. I just need to take this x here. Let's just wrap it. Let's just wrap it in our list. Okay, so this piece is already done. That piece is done. And now all I need this pure value. I need this value, which is my list here, and I need to further wrap it. I need to further wrap it in whatever this monad M is. Right? This could be a list monad. This could be a maybe monad. This could be a state monad. It could be any monad. Doesn't matter. But all I need is that I just need to wrap it in this monadic value of in context of this m. So I'm just going to call the return method here. And remember this return over here that I'm invoking at this point, this return is nothing to do with this return that I'm just implementing. This return that I'm invoking here is the implementation to the whatever is this m, whatever is this monad m. The implementation of the return method in that monad m is getting invoked at this time. Okay, and when I invoke that return implementation of that monad m, this entire piece here, is going to be basically, this is going to be m of in this case m of a. That's the type. That's the entire type that's going to be of this return of my list x, because the type of x is a. Okay, I'm wrapping that around the list. Okay, and I'm saying return of that thing, meaning I'm going to say return of, in this case, the monadic expression, the monadic value of that implementation of return. And this entire piece is going to give you some value of type list t of ma. Okay, so what we have done in this really short video is that we have provided an implementation to the return method, and in my next video we're going to provide the implementation to the bind method.